Well, hello everyone. Welcome to New It 2 from Be Sew In.
Welcome.
Jan and Kaylin coming to you from the Oklahoma City store. We missed everyone last week. The crazy ice and snowstorm kind of put us all out of pocket. Stores were closed for a few days. We're all snowed in. So sorry we missed you on New It 2 next week, but we were all staying home.
Last week.
Did I say next week?
You did.
No, last week.
We don't want more.
We don't want to do it again. No, so sorry we missed you last week, but we all stayed home warm and safe, and now are the stores open again, and we're having a good time. So I am so glad that you're joining us. This week, we wanted to talk to you about something that many of you, I found over time that you don't know how to do it, which is a blind hem. And our machines come with a blind hem foot.
Yes.
And what I have found is that a lot of people don't have the first idea how to use a blind hem foot.
Okay.
So we're going to show you a blind hem and how easy it is to do. It's a beautiful way to hem up your garments or curtains or things like that. You might not ever use it, but it's always good to have the knowledge, right?
Yes.
So let's go over to the Baby Lock Ballad, and we're going to show you how to do that.
All right. Okay, so here we are at the Baby Lock Ballad, and we are going to show you how to do a blind hem. So if you'll come in a little closer, the first thing I want to do is show you the blind hem foot. On most of our machines, it is called the R foot, if you can see that R inscribed right there. And what you have on it is your regular opening here, but there's a paddle that runs across the center.
Can you lay it down on the bed of the machine?
Absolutely.
I think that might be easier.
It just doesn't sit flat.
Right.
But I'll explain why here in a second. So you've got a paddle that runs down the center, and if you flip over the foot, you'll actually see that it's like a rudder on the back. And what that's going to do is that's going to help guide the raw edge of our fabric while that little hook, do you see how that paddle is curved right there?
Right, it's bent right there in the middle.
That's where the needle's going to hop over to grab a stitch to create the hem, and this will all make sense as we kind of go through the process.
Because there's certain stitch patterns that you have to use. Right. It's not just any stitch pattern.
So if you come over here to my screen,
okay, I'm going to go around you.
Okay. We also need to go to the blind hem stitch. So on this particular machine, it's in the second tab of my utility stitches, and it's the first two stitches. The only difference here is that on the first one, 2-01, it's a straight stitch except for where it's grabbing the hem. And on 2-02, it's a zigzag and then grabs the hem.
It might be a different number on your particular model, but it will tell you that it's a blind hem stitch. Yeah, and your manual will also let you know if it's a blind hem stitch.
And it does prompt me to use that R foot.
That's right. So you can see right there it says R foot. And you need that because if you were to use the wrong foot, it might not jump over to the right thing, or if it was a quarter-inch foot, it's going to be a single hole.
You don't want to strike that paddle.
No, it'll bend or break your needle.
And this stitch is designed, here, let me see if I can, do you see that? How that stitch that jumps to the left goes into,
this is hard when we're both trying to hold super still,
goes into that little curve of the paddle.
Okay, let's show it in reality. Okay, I'm going to go around behind you again.
Okay. So what you're going to do to make a blind hem, first I'm going to just put my foot on. Of course, this is a snap-on, snap-off foot, so super simple here. Okay, and what I have here is my sample of a very fancy hem. What I have is my fabric, and when I flip it over, I've just folded over for a hem, okay? Now, you might want to finish this edge in some way with a serge or a zigzag, but what I'm going to do, and go ahead and back out away from me a little bit here, is I'm going to take this hem, and I'm going to lay it with wrong side up for the main part of the garment, right side up for the fold of the hem. And then what I'm going to do, okay, stay with me, I'll show it a couple times, is I'm going to flip the hem backwards so that I make a backwards S or a Z, I guess.
It's a backwards S. Actually,
out of
with
my
it pressed,
fabric.
It kind of looks like the number 2.
Yeah, but here's what's important. I mean, other than the backwards S is really important, but I need to make sure that enough fabric of my hem, so here's the top edge of my hem, I'm flipping it, I'm leaving enough here for the main part of the stitch, the straight part of the stitch.
Show that over there.
The straight part of the stitch, right, will land on
the
hem fabric, the hem fold.
Right.
And what'll happen is my securing stitch, that zigzagging part, will hop onto the fold.
Of course, the trick also
S.
is that, I'm going to get close to it, and I want you to kind of show here. If you were to make a big bite,
yes, like hop over, like just for exaggeration, I hop
right,
over
if you
here.
were to hop too deep into the part that is actually going to be the right side of your garment,
right, you'll see that stitch.
you're going to see a long stitch. And then show what a little stitch would look like. It's
well,
just,
if it only hops to here, then it misses entirely.
right, and then you don't have a hem.
Right. Okay, so what I do to line this up is that I take this fold here, which I have not pressed because I don't want a crease in the front of my garment. Oh. And I'm going to butt that right up against that paddle to the left of the paddle. Okay, so it's skating right along that. And that is what I'm going to watch as I sew my line here. If I'm watching the needle, it's too late. So what we'll see here is that it's going to do a few straight stitches on just my bare raw edge, and then it's going to hop over every couple stitches.
And I will note, we used the wrong color of thread because we
help you
want you to
guys
be able to
see
see
it.
it. We would obviously use
A matching
thread
thread.
that matched.
Okay, so here's where we can take a look and see if our stitch is deep enough. I can take a look at my stitch here, and look, it caught on a couple of them, but not the rest. So here's where it becomes important. So first off, to test with your fabric.
Okay, can you open it up and show what?
Well, you're not going to see anything because it didn't catch it.
It didn't catch it.
Right.
Okay.
So your hem would just fall right out. It caught on the last stitch. But here's the thing. All fabrics come in different weights, right? Different stretchinesses.
Thicknesses, like if you're doing wool.
That's right.
That's got a heavier
So
heft to it.
what you want to do as a sewer is take one of your scraps that you're making your garment out of and test it just like what we've done. Because then I can see, okay, that's not far enough. And then I'm going to come over here. So if you'll come back to my screen. Ooh, can I do this? Just looking at the screen. Oh, Lord. Okay, and do you see how that makes if I do 3, and look, it's even got a little arrow. I need to go up to 3 that way, or if it was catching too much,
it's making a
I could
shallower
scoot it
little
over.
V shape. But we need it to be deeper.
But I know from my test that it wasn't going deep enough.
Okay.
So I've scooched it over, and that's possible on all of our machines, regardless of the model. In some of them, it's just a matter of changing the width. Not all of them are a nice clear arrow pointing left or right.
Right.
But this is how you would adjust.
I mean, basically, we
machine.
needed, if it was too deep of a stitch, then you need to move your needle to the right.
Right.
If it's not deep enough, you need to move your
it
needle to the left.
That's right. Okay, so we're going to run it again. And again, I'm keeping that fold up against the paddle.
And doing this on a sample is a good idea because, quite honestly, it's going to be different on every fabric, and you want to make sure that you're just barely picking up the edge of it.
Okay, and so what we can see now is that it did catch my fabric. Sorry. What we can hopefully see now is that it did actually catch the fabric. Okay, now you can see 2 stitch lines there because I didn't bother to take out my old one, right?
And you didn't really need to.
And what I'm going to have is that when I open this up, and again, this is off color thread, do you see those tiny little bites? That's where that zigzag stitch just hopped. Now, if I didn't like that much showing, then I can fine tune that left-right width adjustment.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it on
bite.
satin where it was literally like a little speck, but it was just enough to hold it.
But this way I can see, okay, it caught it. So now you could continue to go back and forth with your sample and determine what's going to be the exact right amount of grab for yours.
The trick is, show her that backward S curve again.
So the trick is that you fold your hem up, right? And then you take it
and you fold it under.
And you fold it under where part of the raw edge still sticks out to the right here. And that you folded it into a backwards S if you look at it from straight on. So that as you sew around, it's going to just barely catch that edge. Again, you've got your adjustment to make sure that it's just a little bit. And then when you unfold it, you'll have...
It folds up into your pant leg or the bottom edge of your curtain or whatever it is.
And you'll have your blind hem all the way around. Now, here's the thing. A sewing machine is not the only machine that can do a blind hem.
Okay.
A serger can also do a blind hem.
Well, let's go do that.
Okay, so we're here at the Victory Serger because, as I just said, you can do a blind hem on a serger as well. But there's a few differences on how you need to go about that. So come a little closer.
Okay.
So our serger, unlike our sewing machines, which come with lots of feet, our sergers really only come with their basic foot.
Right.
And so this is the blind hem foot that you can get separately for a serger.
Okay.
And if you look at it, you'll see you've got your holes for your overlock needles. And then you have a paddle that
Now,
should
would
look...
it use both needles or one or the other?
It's only going to use one needle.
Okay.
And I'll show you how I know that here in just a second. So then we've got the paddle that should look very similar to the paddle on the one for the sewing machine.
It does.
Okay. So I'll admit, I don't do this one as often as I do sewing machine blind hems. So I needed to get out my handy dandy cheat sheet.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So what I have then is it's going to tell me all the machine settings that I need for this stitch.
Okay.
I've already set it up for you, but I'll still walk you through what I've done. Interestingly to me, this is set for a 2-thread stitch. Okay. So what that means, and let me show you here, the easiest way to thread that, because I don't necessarily have all these just in my brain, is to get out your quick reference threading guide.
Oh, yes.
And for this, we're using a 2-thread flat lock narrow. That's going to be what that 2-thread is.
So you have a needle and you have a looper.
That's right. So my right hand needle is in, but if you look, my right hand needle thread is actually going through the tension guide of the upper looper.
And it tells you that on that card.
It does tell me on the card. It needs the tension that that thread gives right there.
But it doesn't go through the upper looper.
No, it goes all the way across back to my needle.
Okay.
And then my lower looper is threaded as usual.
And you're not using the upper looper.
That's correct. Instead, what we're using is something called the subsidiary looper.
Okay, can you show me that on that card?
I can. So this is the subsidiary looper.
So that is, you'll notice it it's on all of the pictures. Hold that up again.
Oh, yes. Well, it's going to be engaged on all of these.
On all these. Turn the card over. There is no subsidiary looper showing on that, meaning it's open.
Right. And it's on all of these.
Right, but it's closed on those. So
right.
The subsidiary looper is...
This is the subsidiary looper. It sits here on top. Oh, sorry. I was trying to make it focus.
Okay, you're making it dark.
It sits right here on top of my looper. And the way that you engage it, it normally sits just like this. And for most overlock stitches, that's where you want it. It's actually locked in place whenever it's like that. So what I need to do for this model is pull it backwards.
There's a little spring.
Then rotate it up and around. And then I need to insert
that
little hook into the opening.
And then when you want to take it off, you would push it to the left and then up and over.
That's right.
But we need it
We want it engaged.
Okay.
Because what it's going to do is it's going to split that lower looper thread across the needle to create a stitch.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do, if you look on my directions, you should see, it's nice and small, that it's utilizing that same backwards formatting that I need on my sewing machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my width to 5, so that's just the widest width possible. And I'm going to set my stitch length.
The widest width with the right needle.
Correct.
Yeah, because it can go up to a wider width, but that's the bigger numbers are referring to the left needle.
That's right.
The little numbers are referring to the right needle.
And then my stitch length is set to 3.5.
Which I'm looking down on that for you there.
And I'm not just making these up. They're in my little cheat sheet here. Yeah. But we want a long stitch on this because every single stitch is going to be one of those grabs in the hem. So you want them further apart.
Okay.
Now, on the sewing machine, we were able to adjust how deeply it grabbed the hem by adjusting the width of the stitch.
Okay.
Now, this adjusts the width because it moves the blade. The needles don't move left and right.
So how do you change it on this one?
So what they've done is instead of being able to adjust this, they've put a screw on the paddle right here that I can loosen and literally adjust the paddle left or right to adjust the position of the fold so that it catches enough but not too much.
Right, because needles are static in a serger.
That's right.
Got it.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop off my foot. And these machines have the same snap-on, snap-off feet that you're used to on your sewing machine. There we go. Okay, and I've got my paddle here, and I'm going to raise that up again. I'm going to close up my machine because I don't want that just to be open. Oh, and one last thing, and again, this is on my cheat sheet, is that I want it on stitch selector B.
Because there's no tension dials on this machine, and consequently, you use the A, B, C, D, and the geniuses at Baby Lock Serger Factory.
They made it all work.
They made it all work, and we just go, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So set it on B and go for it.
Yeah, thank your lucky stars that it works the way they say it does.
Okay.
Okay, so I have my other sample here. And again, you would still want to test this on a sample piece of fabric before you
show us that backward S.
Yeah. So I've got it pressed for my pretend hem. And I'm going to take it. And the easiest way I've found to do it is to fold it up like that.
And then hold it so we can see the S. There we go. Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to kind of finger press it. You don't want to press this at the iron, like I said, with the sewing machine, because you don't want a crease that you're going to have to then try to get out. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to raise up my presser foot. You may even want to lift that front toe a little to help you shimmy your fabric under there. And sorry, we're trying to share the same airspace. And then I'm going to just butt up the fold of my fabric against the paddle. Okay, I'm not watching the needle. I'm making sure my fabric stays on the paddle. And I'm just going to start sewing. And it's going to cut some off. And I'm going to look in here. I'm going to get in your way for a second, because I want to see if it's catching.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go off the end here. And what you're going to see, so if you look up close, let me show you this end part here. It just looks like a long line of stitching, right?
Yep.
And then I'm going to open it up. And what you're going to have...
And again, we didn't use matching thread.
Correct. What you're going to have is those
Can you lay it
little
down?
grabs. Yes, I'm sorry. Those little grabs there that I could adjust my paddle.
So if you wanted them further apart, you would just adjust your stitch
just a longer stitch length. Mm-hmm.
And we had it on what?
3.5.
And
you could go longer if you really wanted to.
It could go up to what, 4?
4, yeah.
Okay. And if you had a matching thread, you know,
Well,
obviously
sure.
we wouldn't use yellow.
In my guide classes, I would always make them do like red thread.
That way you can see what you're doing.
You to learn what it is you're seeing. Because if this is too much of a grab for me, then I'm just going to adjust my paddle left or right, depending on if it's too much or not enough, to make that into exactly what I want.
Okay. Again, that's going to change also dependent on the thickness of the fabric.
Absolutely. Which is why it's important to practice on a sample.
Okay. Well, so that was really easy.
It was very easy. And I've done this on t-shirt knit. I've done with a serger. I've done lots of different things with it.
And just so you know, if you could grab that blind hem, grab that foot kit.
Oh, yes. So you can get the foot on its own, but we grabbed it out of this foot kit right here.
The pink is for serging only.
Serging only machines.
Yes.
Yes.
And then do you have the green one over here?
I do not, but there's also a green box.
I'm going to go over here real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so over here are serger feet. If they are the green boxes, those are for the combo machines. The pink boxes are for the serger only machines. The feet are narrower for the serger only, and they are not interchangeable.
No.
Not interchangeable. So go back over here to what we were talking about. So
but these boxes are really great to get because they have the most commonly used accessory feet. And they come with just a couple of pages of the instructions for you. And so what this comes with is, hold on, the blind hem foot, of course.
Yep.
The beading foot for, you guessed it, attaching beading. But you can do other things with it. The cording foot, attaching cording. The ruffling foot, to ruffle. The elastic foot to
make them
attach
stretchy.
elastic. So it's a really good set. And it retails for $250, which is quite a savings compared to buying all those feet on their own.
Yep.
So if you know you're wanting to get the most out of your serger, this is definitely a kit for you. And you know
it's
what?
not
I bet
unlike sewing. If you don't have feet to be able to do the
then what are
different
you
things, I mean, J-Fit can only do so much for you on a sewing machine.
That's right.
And a standard foot on a serger, it can do a lot,
That's
but
right.
you do have other feet to make it even do more.
Absolutely.
So we hope you learned something today.
Absolutely.
Learning a new stitch pattern or a new foot, a technique that maybe you always knew it was possible, but you didn't really know how to do it. That's always a fun way to expand your knowledge and enjoy your sewing so much more. I just got back from last week. I was in Tulsa doing the Barb Lewis Serger event. We're going to have that in Oklahoma City here towards the end of March.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked to you all about and sent emails out and Facebook posts reminding you that we have some of those classroom machines that are available on a really good special. And I'm telling you, we made those things sing at that event. We have Triumphs, applauds and victories that we used in the classroom. And it was a lot of fun to make all those different projects, but we end up with a lot of machines that we've used in the classroom. And then we extend the savings to you all, because if you would like to buy one of those classroom machines, you can get that same bundle. And each machine comes with a little bit different bundle. It comes with, I want to say, a foot kit and some thread and a trolley and the 60-day Love of Sewing free trial, our customer priority program. If you want to buy one of those classroom machines, we get them cleaned up after we do the event. We get them put back in their box, and then we
serviced
pass
and
that
just like new for
and then
you.
we pass that savings on you. They still carry exactly the same warranty as if they'd never been out of the box, but you get to get a great savings on that. So if that is something that you might be interested in, I encourage you to jump on that opportunity. Call your local Be Sew In, any one of the stores, whether it be Humble, Oklahoma City, Muskogee, Tulsa, Fayetteville, or Springfield. We are here to help you with that. Those machines are still available. We did sell a lot of them, but we still have a few left. So if you want that great opportunity, and we will have a few more of those machines coming up for the Oklahoma City event, but we don't want you to miss the opportunity. Again, that was Victory, Applaud, and Triumph. Of course, if there's something else you're interested in, we've got all sorts of machines for you, but we want you to jump on that opportunity of awesome prices. I mean, honestly, I remember whenever I got showed the price sheet for what these were going to be, and I was like, for real? You get all of that stuff for that price? Seriously? And yeah, the answer is seriously, we do. So call us at any one of our stores and say, I want the Serger event machine special, and we can make that happen for you.
So are we going to give something away to sweeten our day?
I thought we could talk about this wonderful value 4-pack of Serger thread.
Okay, so that you can go do your Serger blind hems.
That's right, and you can do it with this Maxi Lock swirls.
Okay.
And it's beautiful kind of pastel rainbow colors.
Yeah, make your blind hem blend into
it is a wonderful
fabric.
package.
Very nice.
I should know the price on it, and I don't. Oh, it's a $40 value. So it's like $10 a spool for those. And one lucky winner is going to get to go home with one of these for free if you do what? Like, share, or comment. If you do that by Thursday at 5 p.m., then we're going to have a drawing from whoever did a like, share, or comment, and you're going to get to have one of these wonderful 4-packs of Maxi Lock thread. Now, the specials we have going on are, of course, those classroom machines, but why don't we make 4 packs of Serger thread on sale 25% off this whole week?
Hey, I like it.
I love that too. So that's a really great way to get stocked up on some thread, because heaven knows you always need a color that you don't have on hand.
That's right.
And this is a great way to get that. They come in, the 4-packs come in black, white, gray, navy. I can't remember all of them, but yeah, 25% off a 4-pack, and then one lucky winner is going to get a pack of swirl thread.
Okay, very good.
Hope you learned a lot today about serging and sewing a blind hem, and we are waiting for you to call us so we can help you get into one of those spectacular classroom Serger event machines. Thank you so much for joining us at Be Sew In. We look forward to seeing you next week at New It Too. Bye-bye.
Bye.